Hello everyone. Welcome to this wonderful session, NEET Biology, Class 11th, Unit 1, Diversity in Living World. This unit consists of 4 chapters. We are going to start today Chapter 1, that is the living world. This chapter will be divided into 2 parts. Part 1 we will deal today. In this chapter, in this part, we will deal up to taxonomic hierarchy. After the end of this chapter, that is the living world, we have to discuss the NCERT exemplar as well as the previous year questions which had come in NEET examination. Dear students, you see, in the beginning of each unit, the eminent worker of this field figure is given. For this unit, he is 𝕆𝕋𝔍𝔼𝔼. He is non-Darwin of the 20th century and was one of the 100 greatest scientists of all times. He was awarded 3 prizes known as Triple Crown in biology, and these prizes are the Belgian Prize, International Prize for Biology, and the Crawford Prize. In this unit, we have 4 chapters in NCERT. Chapter number 1 we have to deal today, that is the living world. Living world, part 1 of this. You have seen different type of livings, different type of plant, different type of animals on the earth planet, in your surroundings, as well as on TV program, that is National Geography and Discovery. Also you have seen different type of, that is, organisms. The wide range of living types is amazing and beautiful. The beauty of, that is, galloping animals, of migrating birds, the value of flowers, the attacking shark, evoke deep sense of wonder. Some of the figures are given here. You see that this is the galloping horse. The beautiful colorful birds are there. This is the valley of flower. Different type of butterflies you have seen. Definitely they attract our attention. This is predating shark, you see. And that these are different type of ecological relationship. The ecological conflict is there. The animal used to fight for place, for food, and for mate. Not only fighting is there in animals, they used to cooperate also. You can see the figure here. This is the cooperation among monkeys, and this is beautiful cooperation. That is a frog that is carrying this mouse. You see, ecological conflicts and cooperation exist among members of a population and among community. Not only in plants, that is in animal as well as in plants. And definitely all these leaves us speechless. Now we have to see what we mean by living. Living can be defined as, it is very difficult to define, but even then we will try it. Life is a unique, complex organization of molecules expressing itself through chemical reactions, and these chemical reactions that lead to the following characteristics. Children, what we mean by, this is a living one. In this living, that is, we are having different type of, that is, micromolecules, and we have different type of, that is, macromolecules. Thousands of such molecules are there. All together they used to make big, that is, biomolecules. And these biomolecules, they interact together and they lead to, that is, certain characteristics. Which one is having these characteristics is known as living. A list of these characteristics is given. That is the growth, reproduction, metabolism, consciousness, adaptation, repair, regeneration, organization, evolution, lifespan, death, and self-replication, and so on. Among all these characteristics, one very important point is what we mean by defining feature of living. In all these characters, you see, some of the characters are found in all livings. The characteristics which are found in all livings. Yes, characteristics, yes, found in all livings. You see, all livings, these are known as defining properties or defining characteristics. Do you think that out of these, which one is the character which is found in all? Growth is not found in all living organisms. Similarly, the reproduction is not found in all living organisms. We have to discuss in time to come. But the metabolism is there, consciousness is there, adaptation, repair, and all of these are the characters found in all livings. Without this, that the living cannot exist. So these characters found in all livings, these are known as, that is, defining feature. Now, see the next now, we have to see one by one. What do we mean by growth? Growth is increase in mass and increase in number of cells, and this increase in mass and increase in number of cell, this is known as twin character of growth. This is important question came in examination. If you see growth in case of unicellular organism, it can be increase in size as mass. In case of unicellular organism, you see, let this is one unicellular organism, it used to grow and then it divides into two. It means growth and reproduction. This is growth and this is reproduction. Growth and reproduction in case of unicellular organism are not distinct. These are inclusive one. And that's why we'll call these, that these are synonyms. That is in case of unicellular organism. While in case of multicellular organism, what is there? You can see here in case of multicellular organism, that is the case of plant, that the first the plant will grow, and after growth, that is the plant will have flowers, that reproduction will start. In this case, it means the growth and reproduction, these are distinct events. Similarly, in case of animal, the animal will grow first, the growth will be there, and after attaining maturity, it will start reproduction. So in case of, that is multicellular, that is this increase in number of cells, and in this, that is the reproduction, and that is growth are distinct event. In animals, we mean multicellular animals. Same case is there in case of multicellular plants. Now if you see the growth in case of plant and in case of animals, you see children, in case of plants, the growth is little different from that is growth found in case of animals. The plant used to grow for a long time. That's why the growth is indefinite. While in case of animals, this is for certain period, we'll call the growth is, that is definite one. In case of plant, growth takes place by cell division. That is, the growing regions are specified in plant. These are the local. Let this the stem tip, let this the root tip. These are the regions because of which the growth is there, and the growth is continuously in case of plant. In case of animals, you see that animal used to grow only for a certain age. Come to the point, very important point this one is, the growth is there in non-living also. You can see that this is a mountain. If the things are being added from outer side, it will grow. It will grow in size, it will grow in mass, it will grow in volume. But this is addition from outer side. That's why the growth in case of non-living is called extrinsic, and this is reversible. If you want to remove these layers, that will become reversible one. While in case of animals, either this is plant or animal, the growth is not from outside, the growth is from inside. The things are being added from inside, that the growth is intrinsic, and the growth is, that is, reversible. Can you see in this reference? It means the growth is not found in all organisms all the times. Therefore, the growth we cannot call that this is a defining feature, because there are certain situations where the growth doesn't take place in livings also. Come to the next now, that is reproduction. You all know reproduction. In earlier classes you have seen, that is reproduction, this is production of a progeny, more or less similar to the parents. This is an important character of livings. Non-livings, they do not reproduce. The reproduction can be asexual as well as sexual. Asexual reproduction in early classes you have seen, that may be by asexual reproduction, it may be by so many means. In case of that is unicellular organism, this is by binary fission. In case of some organism, that let this is the filamentous algae, it will be broken into fragments and each fragment will grow into the different, that is new organism. One specific type is seen there in planaria. The body of the planaria, if is cut into pieces, each piece is able to grow into the new one. That is called regeneration. You know it, that is called, that is regeneration. Come to the next now here, reproduction. That is synonymous with growth. In case of unicellular organism, we cannot differentiate reproduction and the growth, while in case of multicellular organism, these are distinct things, because there are some of the organisms which do not reproduce, but they are the living one. For example, this is mule. Mule, how it is formed? This is the male donkey when crosses with, that is female, that is horse. The living one is produced, known as mule, but it doesn't reproduce further. Same case is there with hinny. Just opposite to that, here will be, the male will be horse and the female will be, that is donkey. The sterile hybrid is produced here, known as hinny. The same case we have here, that is the male is, that is lion, and the female is, that one is tigress. That is the organism which is produced by this cross, he is known as, that is liger. Liger is living but it doesn't reproduce. The same case you have seen in case of worker bees. The same case in case of mule, I told you. Even in case of human being you have seen, some of the couples are there, they are living but they do not reproduce. Can you tell me now that reproduction, is it a defining feature? No, because it's not found in all livings. That's why reproduction we cannot call that this is defining feature. Important question this is. Come to the next, metabolism. You see, livings, cell or organism, that is, they have different type of biochemical reaction. Thousands of reactions are taking place in the body of organism inside a cell. Sum total of all this is known as metabolism. This metabolic reaction may be constructive one, synthetic one, then it is called as anabolism. For example, this is photosynthesis. What is there in photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide and the water molecule, they combine to make food, that is glucose, and the oxygen is liberated here. Synthetic process, it may be destructive one called catabolism. The example here is, that is respiration. So anabolism is of two types, catabolism, that is, and anabolism. And this metabolism is found in each and every organism. If the metabolism is stopped, the organism will die. That's why metabolism we can define as it is found in all livings. That's why we can call that this metabolism is, that is, defining feature. One more interesting thing we have here. What is that? You see, metabolic reaction, definitely it is taking place in cell, but we can demonstrate this metabolic reaction outside the body also. In a cell-free system, we can demonstrate this metabolism. What is this? You see here, how can we demonstrate? A simple experiment we can perform, children. Let we are having a test tube here. In this test tube, we may put some starch solution, that is rice water. The starch solution we can put here in this test tube. And we can add this test tube, starch solution. Let this enzyme is, that is 𝕆𝕆 amylase enzyme. 𝕆𝕆 amylase enzyme. Is it? 𝕆𝕆 amylase. You see, this 𝕆𝕆 amylase enzyme is secreted by our saliva, that is 𝕆𝕆 glands. How to collect it? We can put a piece of cotton in mouth. Think about your, that is, good dishes. The secretion will start and you can squeeze this cotton here in this test tube. This enzyme will be added here in starch. and this enzyme, 𝕆𝕆 amylase enzyme, it will digest the starch that the glucose will be formed. What we have done here, we have demonstrated a metabolic reaction outside, that is in a cell-free system, that is in a test tube. The things are being performed in test tube is known as vitro. So, do you think that this test tube will become living? No, not living. That is, we cannot call it living, but surely such type of that a reaction in a vitro or in a test tube is known as that is living reaction. Come to the next now, that is consciousness. Very, very important one. You see, any change is there in the surroundings, that is known as stimuli. In response to the stimuli, the response are given. That is, organism is giving response or aware about the change in atmosphere or response towards stimulus. This is the most obvious and technically complicated defining feature of all organism. Defining feature means consciousness is found in all organism, and that's why this is known as defining feature. Stimuli, it may be physical, it may be chemical, it may be biological. Degree of response, it varies from organism to organism. The simple organism like prokaryotes, here the response is of very low degree. The same thing we have in case of plants also, response is there. Their response to photoperiod, their response to that is external factor, light, water, temperature, other organism and the pollutant. But in case of plant also the response is of low degree, very slow it is. But in case of animals, those which have that is nervous system, or the animals which have that is sense organs they have, because of this that is the response is very fast. So those animals, that is higher animals, we can say that they have that is nervous system along with sense organs, that's why they have that is response of high degree. Photoperiod affects reproduction in seasonal breeders in case of animal as well as in case of plants. You know that plants, they flower only in certain that is light period, in certain season they used to flower. In the same way, we see the certain animals are there which are seasonal breeders. Come to the next very important point here about consciousness related to human being. Human being is the only organism who is aware of himself, and here that is, this is known as, this character is found only in case of human being, self-awareness. They are sending you, your parents are sending you in coaching classes. Your parents are deeply interested that my child should get that good education. This is self-awareness. That's why self-awareness is found only in case of human being. Come to the next now. A person in coma is brain dead because he doesn't give proper response. The requisite quantity of the response is absent. During treatment, if it is restored, then he will be living, otherwise he will be dead. Come to the next now. All livings present, past or future, all they are linked one another by sharing common genetic material. This is the DNA or nucleic acid, we may call it, is found in all, but amount of the DNA present in different organisms that varies. All living phenomena are due to underlying interaction. Properties of tissue, you see, properties of tissue. Yes, you know, if this is a cell, cell is made up of different organelles. Properties of cell are not due to different organelles, but this is because of interaction among these organisms, the cell will be formed. The same case we have here. If this is a tissue we have here, then properties of tissue are not because of its constituent cells. These are the different type of cells making this tissue. Properties of this tissue is not because of constituent cell, but this is because of interaction among these cells. This is important, interaction. This question also came, that is many times. Come to the next now. We have to deal with, that is taxonomy, branch of science dealing with the principles and procedure of classification of organism. Classification is very much essential, that makes our study easier. The component of the taxonomy in sequence, these are characterization. We have to define characters. On the basis of this, we have to identify. Then we have to go for that is nomenclature and then classification. Now we have to see system of giving scientific name known as binomial nomenclature. There is the need to give scientific name. By local name, we cannot identify the organism throughout the universe. It keeps on changing. The system of giving scientific name, that is well-known system, is known as binomial nomenclature, which was given by and popularized by Carolus Linnaeus. This is the figure of father of taxonomy, that is Carolus Linnaeus. Why binomial name? Organism has two components, generic name and the species epithet. And some of the important rules of this binomial name are, it is written in Latin, handwritten if it is, the genus and species will be underlined separately. Principle of priority is very important one. What is that? That is, if first valid name is given, that will be considered binomial name, first valid name. Any other valid name if is given after, that is considering, that is some other important points, that second valid name will be known as synonyms. In case of plant, no name is identified before 1753. That was given by Linnaeus and that was described in species Plantarum. Similarly, in case of animals, the no name of the animals will be given before 1758 and that was described in Systema Naturae. See, we have to see now, that is an example of giving binomial name. Let this one is mango. You know, in Hindi we used to call it as aam. The generic name and species name, specific name of this will be, that is, yes, this is Mangifera and this one is indica. We have to underline these separately, right? We have to underline these separately here like this, genus and indica when handwritten. You see, this one is that is genus and this one is that is species epithet. This is called species epithet, right? You see, after this species, we have to write the name of the scientist who has described it for the first time. In abbreviated form, we have to write that this was described by Linnaeus. We will write here Lin. First letter of genus, that will be capital here as you are seeing here, and the first letter of species, that will be the small one. All these three together, that is genus, species, and this is known as citation. All these three, that is, are together known as, these are known as binomial, that is nomial epithet. Binomial, that is epithet, this one is. Come to the next now. These are very important books. That is, this is Genera Plantarum, the front page I had given to you just for reference. That was Systema Naturae, that is written by, that is Linnaeus. Now to give scientific name, we have some standardization, scientific name by which we have to provide. One is ICBN, that is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. ICZN, International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. ICNB, International Code for Nomenclature of Bacteria. NCP, International Code for Nomenclature of Cultivated Plants. And this is ICTV, International Committee for Taxonomy of Virus. We have to remember this. That is what we have done so far. That if you have seen the books, then definitely you can remember what the importance and significance of these books. This is Genera Plantarum. This one is, that is species, that is, so Genera Plantarum, and this one is, that is Systema Naturae. That is, the name was given in species Plantarum, that is name of the plants. In Systema Naturae, that Linnaeus described, that is name of the animals. So by now you have seen in this, if you go back, that is, this is binomial name, how we used to give. That is taxonomy. The father of taxonomy is, that is Carolus Linnaeus. That is some important principles I had described. That I told you what mean by that is tissue. The tissue is because of interaction of the cells that is making this tissue. The same thing. Consciousness, I told you, most obvious and technical, complicated, defining feature of all the organism. This one is metabolism is defining feature. The reproduction, we cannot call that this is a defining feature, and the growth also we can call defining feature. Similarly, if you go for the other characters, that is under classes also you have seen adaptation, repair, regeneration, organization, evolution. An organism having a definite lifespan, after this that one has to die, and they used to go for self-replication. So this is about this chapter, that is part 1, chapter 1, that is living world. You see children, after the end of this chapter, in this chapter we have 2 parts. First part we have finished right now. Second part will be deal little later. After completion of the chapter, we have to deal, that is NCERT exemplars given in the end of chapter, and then we have to see previous year NEET examinations questions from this chapter which had appeared in examination. And now that in slide the program will be given to you, what will be for the next, that is lesson, and by that time, thank you very much. Have a nice day.